J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye is a coming-of-age novel that follows Holden Caulfield, a troubled 16-year-old who has just been expelled from Pensy Prep, a prestigious boarding school. Disillusioned with the world around him, Holden sees most adults as phony and struggles with feelings of loneliness, alienation, and grief over the death of his younger brother Allie. Instead of returning home to face his parents, Holden wanders through New York City, encountering various people, including a teacher, an old girlfriend, and a prostitute, each interaction reinforcing his cynicism and emotional turmoil. He dreams of being the catcher in the rye, someone who saves children from falling into the corruption of adulthood, symbolizing his desire to preserve innocence. As his mental state deteriorates, Holden sneaks home to visit his younger sister Phoebe, one of the few people he genuinely loves. When she insists on running away with him, he has a moment of clarity, realizing he cannot stop children from growing up. The novel ends ambiguously, with Holden in a psychiatric facility, reflecting on his experiences and hinting at possible recovery. Key characters: Holden Caulfield, the 16-year-old protagonist and narrator, disillusioned with the world and obsessed with preserving innocence. He struggles with grief, depression, and alienation as he wanders through New York City after being expelled from Pensy Prep. Phoebe Caulfield, Holden's 10-year-old sister, one of the few people he loves and trusts. She is intelligent, kind, and represents the innocence Holden desperately wants to protect. Allie Caulfield, Holden's younger brother who died of leukemia at age 11. Allie's death deeply affects Holden, symbolizing the loss of innocence and intensifying his fear of adulthood. Mr. Antolini, a former teacher who offers Holden guidance but makes an ambiguous gesture that unnerves him, adding to Holden's distrust of adults. Stradlater, Holden's handsome and superficial roommate at Pensy Prep, whom Holden resents for his shallow nature, especially after Stradlater goes on a date with Jane Gallagher. Jane Gallagher, a girl Holden deeply respects and has feelings for, though he never acts on them. She symbolizes genuine connection, but Holden avoids facing his emotions directly. Sally Hayes, a girl. Holden briefly dates in New York, but he quickly grows frustrated with her, reflecting his inability to maintain relationships. Sonny and Maurice, a prostitute and her pimp whom Holden encounters in a failed attempt to seek human connection, highlighting his loneliness and inexperience. Key themes: alienation and loneliness. Holden isolates himself, struggling to connect with others while simultaneously craving companionship, reflecting teenage angst and depression. The phoniness of the adult world. Holden despises the hypocrisy, superficiality, and dishonesty of adults, believing the world is full of phonies. Innocence versus adulthood. Holden's dream of being the catcher in the rye represents his desire to protect children from growing up and facing life's harsh realities. Mental health and grief. Holden's erratic behavior, depression, and fixation on Allie's death suggest unresolved trauma and emotional instability. The search for identity and meaning. Holden's journey is one of self-discovery, as he questions his place in the world and struggles to find purpose. Symbolism of the ducks in Central Park. Holden repeatedly asks what happens to the ducks in winter, symbolizing his fear of change, uncertainty, and the unknown. Final thoughts. The Catcher in the Rye is a timeless exploration of teenage angst, identity, and the struggle between childhood innocence and adult reality. Holden's story resonates with anyone who has felt lost, misunderstood, or resistant to the pressures of growing up.